Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Here's everything you need to know about Season 1 of Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, and this is going to be a bit of an ultimate guide. We're going to cover all the new stuff and showcase a lot of it in the video today. So if you're excited for that, drop a like and we'll get straight into it. There's a new Act 4 mission, which you can access by scrolling over Acts 1 to 3, like you need to kind of tab along in the menus here. And when you go into that, it's going to allow you to select a mission called Bad Signal. Now this actually kind of leads you to an Easter egg quest, and it's quite complicated. There are several stages to it, and there are several different rewards. If you'd like to do the quest itself, I've got a full Easter egg guide for it on my channel. It's linked in the description and in the corner of the screen now. But for now, I'm just going to show you a little bit of what's inside the Dark Ether and show you the rewards. So the Dark Ether itself is gorgeous. It looks absolutely amazing. The aesthetic is fantastic. And inside the Dark Ether, there are various contracts that you can do. And there are also some secret bits and pieces as well, such as an ether nest that's kind of buried under the map and it doesn't tell you it's there. And you can get a key out of it and that unlocks a secret door and all sorts of stuff. Now, some of the rewards that you can get from doing that main quest Easter egg are the Pack-a-Punch level 3 schematic and the gold wrench schematics, which weren't available in the pre-season 1 period of the game's launch, but those have now been added to the game, so you can farm those from doing those high tier objectives. And there are also a handful of new classified schematics, and these are as follows. There's the gold dog bone, and that gold dog bone is going to spawn in not just a tier 3 friendly hellhound, but actually a tier 4 friendly hellhound. So it's going to have even more health. It basically never dies. It's amazing. And it's going to be able to revive you, and it will also take down zombies for you as well. And this means that you don't have to actually do the dog quest in your game. You can just spawn it in at any time, which is phenomenal. And there's also a gold armor schematic. And this, I think, is probably the biggest reward out of everything I've ever seen in Zombies. It's so good because it pretty much means that you can just stop thinking about armor ever again. It auto repairs for you, and that doesn't mean you consistently have to keep doing the animation to put plates in. It just recharges over time, and it's even stronger and more durable than regular 3-plate armor would be. So this schematic is crazy powerful and is definitely worth grinding through that Easter egg to get. And the schematic's also on a 2-day cooldown, similar to the ray gun and the WAF. So if you've got it off cooldown, I really recommend stacking up on those because they're just so damn useful. And the last new classified schematic is the gold ether blade. This is an incredible weapon that basically boomerangs between zombies when you throw it at them, and it's insanely powerful, and it's just a hell of a lot of fun to use as well. So combined with the gold dog bone and gold armor, it's going to make your escapades in the dark ether a lot easier, and also just any time you spend in Urzikstan, that's going to be much easier as well. Now, on top of those, there are somehow even more schematics that have been added. So one of them is the Scorcher schematic, which wasn't available again before Season 1 came out. And you can also get weapon cases for the VR11 as well, which is a new wonder weapon that works by turning a zombie that you shoot into a friendly zombie in this game. And if you shoot it at an enemy merc, it will also turn them into a friendly zombie, sort of like how Brain Rot would work, except there's a slight twist with the VR11, and that's that if you shoot a teammate with it, it's going to give that teammate a boost, like it's going to buff that teammate, so they're going to be super powerful while that VR11 burst is still active on them. It's always been a bit of a love-hate wonder weapon. I think some people are going to think that this thing is terrible because it doesn't really massively buff you as a player, but other people will probably like it for how quirky and weird it is. So let me know in the comments down below whether you're a lover of the VR11 or you're a hater. Now, another reward actually that you get for doing that Easter egg that I mentioned is the Geode blueprint for the MCW, which looks like this. And this is unlocked about 2/3 of the way through that Easter egg. So you don't have to do the absolute full thing and do all of the farming in order to get it. And it's also a guaranteed drop, which is nice. So if you get that far into the egg, you will get the blueprint. And I think it looks really pretty as well. And it's also on the MCW, which happens to be the gun that I first used to take the worm down. So it's got a special place in my heart. So I'm glad that it's a blueprint for that weapon. I think that's awesome. And speaking of blueprints and weapons, there's also a new flamethrower aftermarket part in the battle pass, which is so nuts. I was just driving around the map at one point and I just saw like flames erupting from over a hill. And I was like, I have to see what this is. Like, is this a new enemy type or something? No, it was just a player just tooting their horn into the air, dude. It's great. So It's called the A14 Jack Purifier, and it's something that I'm definitely going to do a full gameplay on, testing it out on all the different bosses in the game, manglers, mimics, disciples, etc. So I'll link that in the description down below and on the screen as well. And there's a couple of new weapons in the Battle Pass too. So we've got the Ram 7 that is in Zombies now, which is cool. You've got the XRK Stalker and the Storm Ender as well. Now it'd be crazy for me to have talked about all these weapons and not talk about some of the stuff that you can use them on. So there's no new enemy types technically in this, but there are 2 new boss fights, okay? And those boss fights are both worm fights. So the first worm fight is going to be part of that main quest Easter egg. It's inside the Dark Ether, and it's a pretty awesome fight because that worm is really damn tough. It's a very, very strong boss, so very difficult to take down. But it's the sort of thing that if you have sentry circuits, it definitely makes it a lot easier. And also if you bring randoms into your game and you make sure that they've got good weapons as well, you kind of donate some charitable points to them or something, it makes your life a lot easier. So that boss fight is fantastic. I think that that's a really great experience, and also just combined with the Dark Ether aesthetic, it's really going in a good direction for what Zombies boss fights should sort of aim for, I think. But there's actually another boss fight in the main map, which is pretty crazy because it's essentially like a world boss that other players are going to be able to help you with, even if they're not in your party, which is different to how it's been in previous missions and acts. So for example, the Defeat Zakayev worm is something that if people aren't in your party, they can't spawn in with you to fight, whereas this one is in the middle of the actual Urzikstan map. So there are USB cards that you can find in various locations from these sort of UAV towers. Like if you played DMZ, it's very reminiscent of those, but you go over to the UAV tower, you activate it, and then it will give you a little USB, and those USBs can be used to spawn that worm in, and it's enormous, and it's scary, and you're going to need a lot of firepower to take it down. And Treyarch have also changed how a lot of the weapons in the game work. So as it stands right now, the Riot Shield is going to give you a movement speed debuff when it's on your back. So it used to be really strong before this season, but now it's honestly not as viable to run it, I would say. And they've also made some changes to things like decoys, which are really unfortunate, but it just means that you need to lean into using Casimirs a bit more and using monkey bombs and stuff like that. And also, I think one of the fastest farming methods has kind of become having 1 or 2 players spawn in with Pack-a-Punch crystals, and then having one person go over to one bounty contract and have another person go over to another bounty contract, but not pick the second one up. And then just have that first person do the bounty, and then straight away, as soon as it's finished, the second person's already at the next bounty, so they can pick it up and start working on that bounty while the first person's doing their bounty. And you can go through contracts so fast that way and get set up so quickly. So if you're in a party, if you're in like a coherent party, one that's actually got some brain power behind it as opposed to just playing with randoms, that's a strat that I would really highly recommend you try out as well. Like, it's just going to mean that you're farming everything really fast and getting really, really easy tier 3 loot, and you'll get faster sigils that way. I actually didn't mention that. Sigils are the way that you're going to spawn into the Dark Ether once you've done that Easter egg quest. You need regular sigils, and then you need Elder sigils to get into the absolute highest level of the Dark Ether, and that's where you get those really high tier rewards, such as that Dogbone schematic, Etherblade schematic, and Gold Armor Plate schematic. So if you want to see more of this sort of stuff on my channel in the next couple of weeks, make sure to subscribe, and I'd also really appreciate if you could leave a like on this video. It really helps me out. Thanks folks, I'll talk to you very soon. Bye for now.